this game is in Cleveland, the game time weather expected to be 40 degrees and rainy. Really unpleasant, but we'll see who that actually I know, it sounds like Cleveland. You guys know that well. All right, if you think this could be a walk in the park for Pittsburgh, though, the Steelers have really struggled on the road against the Browns lately. Pittsburgh just 1-4-1 in their last 6 games in Cleveland. Their -9 turnover margin, the 4th worst of any head-to-head matchup in the league since 2018. Seems like it could be a trap game for Pittsburgh, but cornerback Dante Jackson was asked about that.
What's a trap game? What that mean? I played in Carolina, bro, for a long time. I'm not familiar with trap games.
I love that answer. Okay, Hawk. All right. So he didn't know what a trap game is, but could this be a trap game for the Steelers?
I mean, it has the makings of a trap game, but I mean, this is a Mike Tomlin coach football team.
Right.
If there's one coach or organization or locker room that's led by Tomlin that I trust not to be subjected to a trap game, this is the team. They play well. They play hard in every scenario, every quarter, every place. The record doesn't look good in Cleveland, but at the same time, what you have to rest on is a coach and their culture, and the Steelers' culture is not that.
Yeah, J-Mac, the Steelers pulled out a win against the Ravens with 6 field goals. Are you concerned about their approach in the red zone?
Yeah, they've struggled, and it wasn't just that Ravens game. They've struggled with Russ in the lineup a little bit since he's been there, and Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, he's a guy that wants to run through the red zone, but when you can't, this is when they've been successful. When Russ has seen man coverage, he's been able to go to a form of a pick play down the bottom and hit guys where as soon as the ball is getting in his hands, he's getting it out quick. When he sees zone coverage here, he's holding on to the football when you have to make a quick decision down here because every zone is covering. You don't have the time to kind of roll out and try to make plays with your feet as you do in the field. And we've seen where he's thrown it up to George Pickens on the outside. The closer you get, you take those chances. But those are low percentage throws. Now you have to figure out a way to get into that end zone and do different things. We saw Justin Fields come in the game this past week. That possibly could be something they do.
You just gave the blueprint, of how to play this offense in the red zone. This is where I am. This defense in Pittsburgh can win a Super Bowl. This offense cannot. Right now, Russell Wilson's the worst red zone quarterback in the NFL. I'll let that set in. That's not an assumption. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. His QBR in the red zone is an 8. That's out of 100. The red zone performance is not good enough. And J-Mac just talked about it, man versus zone. There's been moments, when a defense, I think, silly in many ways, just plays single high coverage and gives them the chance to throw the ball to Pickens one-on-one. But if you don't, this offense in Russell Wilson is going to struggle versus what you're going to show them. You can get all the yards you want, 20-20. To win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to be better in the red zone. And I think the point of Justin Fields is different. The other thing that has crept up, the sacks. The last 3 weeks, Russell Wilson's taken 11 sacks. That is second most in the NFL, or tied for 5th most in the NFL since week 8. So, you're talking about the concerns that were kind of heading into the situation.
Starting to show up.
Hawk, I feel like when we think about George Pickens, it's just like you can kind of throw anything his way, and a 50-50 ball isn't really 50-50. It's like 80-20 his direction. But are you seeing that in the red zone?
For sure. And I think the thing about George Pickens, because everyone knows he's an unconventional athlete. When you watch him, he's gone viral. It's like he does a lot of crazy things on the field, which even as NFL players, we don't see very often. He does so many things special, but where he really excels is playing the ball in the air. And what I mean by that is a DB, and J-Mac knows it, you're going to be locked eyes on a receiver, and how he is positioning his arms, the timing where his eyes are going to determine how you play it. Here's a video of Denzel Ward having a great play on the ball without looking back on Higgins. That's going to be paramount. And I know you have a question here, but with George Pickens, the reason why it's so special, and I'm trying to get people to understand this, if a ball is falling over my shoulder, and I'm looking and my hands go here, right? Just by where I'm going in trajectory, J-Mac will see and chop the arms, right?
Play the hands.
Hit the hands where the ball is coming, time it out. The reason why George Pickens is so special at the point of attack, contested catches, is because instead of running and doing this, George Pickens will stop, play it here, and then at the last second, jump back with one hand, jump back with two, and where the ball landing point is versus where his body positioning is, it's impossible for a DB to dictate because it's so unconventional.
I don't think it'll be an issue tomorrow night. He's going to see a ton of single high versus Cleveland. They want to play a ton of man. I think the two things, again, taking away from the Baltimore game, remember, Russ struggling in the red zone, the sacks have started to show up. All they did was play off of George in the red zone, and that took away the one played off of him. And the second thing is when Arthur Smith moved him into the slot, they basically doubled him. So if you're Pittsburgh, you're going to have to figure something else out offensively.
Yeah, we'll see what the answer is. You think maybe tomorrow night's not the time they need to worry about it.
You're going to see a ton of single high coverage tomorrow night if you're the Steelers, man-to-man, one-on-one.
Hey, Mac, let's start there. The Niners facing the Packers. How important do you think Nick Bosa is in this one?
Oh, he's huge, and Adam just hit it on it. The fact that in that game, up until Bosa gets hurt, the Seattle Seahawks have 6 points on the board, 87 total yards. He gets hurt, they rattle off 14 points. So you just look at this 49ers team and his absence when he's missed games, they're 5-10. They're giving up a touchdown more and 1 sack less. So Nick Bosa is a guy that stands out, and we know that. He has so much of an impact on this defense for everybody. I'm looking at Leonard Floyd. If there's no Nick Bosa, he has to step up. He had some plays in that game on Sunday where he just destroyed the tackle. You're going to see right here, just throws him down and applies pressure on Geno Smith. The issue of that play is with Nick Bosa lined up on the other side. Now, this is in the fourth quarter. He comes off, he wins his one-on-one, and he's able to come away with a sack on a little bit of a stunt right there with the defensive tackle. He's going to have to be a guy that steps up against the Packers in Nick Bosa's absence if he's not out there, because let's face it, Nick Bosa is just a wrecking ball.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the Packers, to your point, with no Nick Bosa out, that is an opportunity for this Packers offense. When you talk about what the Packers, what their trajectory looks like for the season, Jordan Love, there has been times he's been reckless, right? Yeah. Even in last week, there was a big throw to Christian Watson. We talked about it, where it's a field post, an over route, and he throws it. He launches into double coverage. Not the best decision. Well, going against a 49ers defense with no Bosa, the pressure rate is going to be down. It's an opportunity to say, hey, how do we mitigate some of these spurts of recklessness to do our best to try to make sure that throughout the season, we're making sure that we're progressing in a way that bodes well for the postseason. They're going to see a lot more cover 3, cover 4, a lot less cover 2 with no Nick Bosa, the 49ers run. That all bodes well for Jordan Love because he's better against those coverages.
And they don't blitz. They're four-man rush. They don't blitz. It's a four-man rush.
I mean, listen, the 49ers are going to see probably the most creative run game in the NFL this season. Matt LaFleur is putting on an absolute run game clinic. And I think that's the biggest challenge without Bosa is can they handle all those different runs? Number one, you are going to get 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, staple runs. We know this as duo, double teams. And look how they're connected, but also having vision on who they have to go to. That backside guard's like, is that backer firing? Nope, he's not, so the tight end can climb up. The backside guard and tackle collapse. Those are 8 yards right there for Josh Jacobs. But then he takes staples, motion across, okay? And just makes them look more than they actually are. Here comes that same motion all the way back. Now look what it does. Jordan Love reverses out. The tight end scrapes back across the other side. Look at the backer pointing out. Everybody's going to flow to the right side of the screen because everything is flowing that way. Look what it does seam-wise, though. You get the cut off the backside by the tight end, and you have so much displacement off a basic run. This run, I don't even know what it is, guys. It's sick. The backside tight end's going to cut the edge. The receiver's going to come in motion. Jacobs jab steps. Jordan Love makes a circle turnaround, fakes it to the receiver, and Jacob goes. So you saw that first run, that staple duo, San Francisco. You're going to see that. And then you're going to see the split flow zone, but it's going to look crazy. And then that last run, I have no idea what it is. I don't know if it's a counter. I don't know if it's a zone. I don't know. I asked
that little jab step, though, I mean, like, that's actually a big piece of that, right?
You get the receiver going that way, and then Jacobs jabs that way, and then they come all the way back across. A buddy of mine, Dan Casey, said he called it maybe counter solid or something. Green Bay's, they're fourth in the NFL in rush yards per game. They got 45 explosive run, which is also fourth in the NFL. I mean, San Francisco, you're going to get the ball run at you all game.
As we bring her in. Lindsay, what did Jim Harbaugh say about facing his brother on Monday?
Hi, Laura. Well, Jim Harbaugh entertained questions for about 25 minutes just a little bit ago. All of those questions, almost, not all of them, almost all about facing his big brother, John Harbaugh. So let me boil it down to about 3 different points that really stood out. Number one, John is his best friend, who he's incredibly proud of, and that includes John's win over him in Super Bowl 47. Number 2, the Harbaugh parents won't be in attendance Sunday because they're going to Thanksgiving at their sister's house in Florida. And number 3, Jim Harbaugh wants to keep as much of the focus for this game on his players. So here's a topic that he was happy to expound on. That is Justin Herbert. Right now, Justin Herbert leads the NFL in completions and touchdown passes of 20-plus yards downfield. I asked Harbaugh what has enabled his fifth-year quarterback to have so much success in that area.
The effort that he puts in, everything that you could say good about a quarterback, and then some. It's talent and effort, and then some. Then intangibles that are off the chart. Every measurable you could have for a quarterback, tangible or intangible. Think of the big man on campus analogy. He's the opposite. It's like being around greatness every day.
Laura, Jim Harbaugh can go on and on and on about his love for Justin Herbert. He actually went on today for 4 straight minutes, and bottom line, he said when it comes to Justin Herbert and what we're watching, enjoy it. Perhaps a quarterback they won't enjoy watching as much on Sunday is Lamar Jackson. Harbaugh saying after seeing him up close as much as he has, that he's a competitor at the absolute highest level. And the Chargers absolutely will have to be at their best to slow him down. They are very impressed right now with the progress and the production of second-year pro Tuli Tuipulotu. But it'll also be really important for the Chargers to monitor the potential return, I should say, of Khalil Mack, who's dealing with a groin injury. He was not out at practice today, but Wednesday also is Khalil Mack's typical day of rest. So we'll keep a close eye on whether or not he can go on Sunday in order to help contain Lamar Jackson.
All right, just incredible stuff from Lindsay Theory all the way around on what is one of the best games this coming week.